Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Liberty's Edge, watching the stars through the main screen. He had been patrolling the outer edge of the solar system for 3 months without seeing anything unusual. The coffee in his cup had gone cold an hour ago, but he kept sipping it anyway. "Captain, we have something on long-range sensors," said Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez from her station. Her voice carried a note of confusion that made Morrison set down his cup. "What kind of something?" Morrison asked, walking over to look at her screen. 12 ships, sir, big ones. They just appeared out of nowhere about 2 million kilometers away." Rodriguez adjusted her controls, trying to get a better reading. "These aren't like anything in our databases." Morrison felt his stomach tighten. Earth had been preparing for this day for decades, ever since they first developed faster-than-light travel. Everyone knew that eventually, humanity would meet other species among the stars. The question was whether those species would be friendly. "Sound General Quarters," Morrison ordered. "Get me a direct line to Solar Command." The bridge came alive with activity as crew members rushed to their battle stations. Red lights flashed and alarms rang throughout the ship. Morrison had drilled his crew hundreds of times for this moment, but he knew that no amount of training could prepare them for the real thing. Admiral Kevin Blake's face appeared on the communications screen. Blake looked tired, as if he had been expecting this call for years. "What do you have, Jake?" 12 unknown vessels, sir. Large ones. They appeared without warning in the outer system. Morrison transferred the sensor data to Blake's command center. "No response to our standard greeting signals." Blake studied the information for a moment, then nodded grimly. "I'm implementing Protocol 7. Assume hostile intent until proven otherwise." Morrison understood. Protocol 7 meant that Earth would treat any alien contact as a potential invasion. It was not the diplomatic first contact that politicians had dreamed about. It was the military scenario that kept admirals awake at night. On the alien flagship Eternal Harmony, Admiral Zixithera studied the primitive vessel that had detected their arrival. She was a tall, elegant being with blue-green skin and forearms. Her species, the Valonians, had been part of the Galactic Council for over 20,000 years. "How quaint," she said to her second-in-command. "They actually noticed us arriving. The Council had visited hundreds of worlds over the millennia. Most primitive species were so overwhelmed by their technology that they immediately surrendered. Others tried to hide or run away. None had ever responded by going to battle stations. Shall I prepare the integration protocols?" asked Kethmore, the crystalline translator. The Council had a standard procedure for bringing new species into their galactic civilization. It usually took less than a day. "Not yet," Admiral Zixithera replied. "Let us see how they react to our presence. Perhaps they will surprise us." She ordered her fleet to move closer to the inner planets. The Council ships were massive, each one the size of a small city. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields that could deflect any weapon these primitives might possess. Advanced sensors scanned every human installation, counting their pathetic defenses. Captain Morrison watched the alien fleet approach. His ship was tiny compared to the alien vessels, but he refused to be intimidated. Earth's military had learned hard lessons from centuries of warfare among themselves. The most important lesson was that size and technology did not always determine the winner. "Sir, they're scanning us," reported Chief Petty Officer Ryan Murphy from the weapons station. "Active sensors very sophisticated. Are our shields up?" "Yes, sir." "Full power." Morrison opened a channel to broadcast on all frequencies. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered human space without permission. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." On the Eternal Harmony, the bridge crew fell silent. In 50,000 years of expansion, no species had ever demanded that the Council identify itself. They were the Council. That should be identification enough. Admiral Zixithera activated her own communication system. Her words were automatically translated into what her computers assumed was the local language. "Primitive beings, we are the Galactic Council. We have come to bring your species into the greater galactic community. Prepare for integration." Morrison looked at Lieutenant Rodriguez, who shook her head. "Sir, they're calling us primitive, and they want to integrate us into something called the Galactic Council." "Did we ask to be integrated?" Morrison asked. "No, sir." Morrison opened the channel again. "Galactic Council vessels, humanity appreciates your interest, but we decline your offer. Please leave our solar system immediately." The alien bridge erupted in confused chatter. No species had ever declined integration. It was not an offer that could be refused. It was simply how the galaxy worked. Admiral Zixthera felt a flicker of annoyance. These humans were not following the proper script. You misunderstand, little creatures. Integration is not optional. It is for your own good and the good of the galaxy. Morrison's jaw tightened. Galactic Council vessels, you have exactly 10 minutes to begin leaving our system. If you do not comply, we will consider your presence an act of war. The alien admiral laughed, a sound like crystal bells ringing. You threaten us with what? Your tiny ships and primitive weapons? To demonstrate her point, she ordered her fleet to disable 3 human communication satellites. Beams of coherent energy reached out from the alien ships and simply turned off the satellites without destroying them. It was meant to be a merciful demonstration of overwhelming power. Morrison watched the satellites go dark and felt cold anger settle in his chest. These aliens had just attacked human property. In military terms, they had fired the first shot. All stations, this is the captain, Morrison announced over the ship's communication system. The alien fleet has just committed an act of war against Earth by attacking our satellites. We are now in a combat situation. He opened a channel to Admiral Blake. Sir, they just disabled 3 comsats. I recommend we implement full defensive measures. Blake nodded grimly. Agreed. Jake, send this message to the alien fleet. Morrison broadcast Blake's words to the Council ships. Galactic Council fleet, you have committed an unprovoked attack against Earth infrastructure. You now have 30 seconds to withdraw from our system, or we will defend ourselves with all necessary force. Admiral Zixthera stared at her communication screen in disbelief. These primitives were actually threatening to fight the mighty Galactic Council. It was like ants threatening to bite a boot. Shall I prepare the pacification weapons? Asked her tactical officer. Yes, Admiral Zixthera replied. It seems these humans need a firmer lesson in galactic reality. She had no way of knowing that she was about to learn a lesson of her own. Admiral Kevin Blake sat in his command chair at Solar Defense Headquarters, watching tactical displays that showed the alien fleet positioning itself near Earth's outer planets. He had spent 40 years in Earth's military, fighting in 3 different wars among human nations. Now he faced something completely different. Sir, all defense platforms are reporting ready status, said Major Susan Carter from her position at the tactical console. Luna Base, Mars Command, and the asteroid mining stations are all armed and waiting for orders. Blake nodded. Protocol 7 was working exactly as designed. When the aliens attacked the satellites, every human military installation in the solar system had automatically gone to maximum alert. There was no confusion, no panic, just smooth execution of plans that had been practiced for decades. Captain Lisa Torres commanded the heavy cruiser New Hampshire from her position in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Her ship had been disguised as a mining vessel for the past 6 months, part of Earth's hidden defense network. When the alert came through, she ordered her crew to drop the fake mining equipment and prepare for battle. Weapons online, Captain, reported her tactical officer. The aliens don't seem to know we're here. Good, Torres replied. Let's keep it that way until we need to introduce ourselves. The Galactic Council fleet moved deeper into the solar system. Their sensors focused on the obvious human military installations around Earth and Mars. They completely missed the hidden bases in the asteroid belt, on the moons of Jupiter, and in the outer planetary systems. Admiral Zixthera studied the tactical display showing human defenses. What she saw confused her. The human ships were small and seemed to be scattered randomly throughout their star system. There was no central defensive formation, no logical pattern to their deployment. These humans fight like barbarians, she said to her military advisor, Hive Prime Kathek. The insectoid being clicked its mandibles in what might have been agreement. Their tactics make no sense, Kathek replied in its buzzing voice. They have divided their forces instead of concentrating them. We could destroy them piecemeal. What neither alien understood was that human military doctrine had evolved through centuries of warfare against other humans. Earth's defenders were not trying to protect fixed positions. They were trying to create a web of overlapping fields of fire that would trap any attacking force. Captain Ryan Murphy commanded the destroyer Defender from its hiding place, behind one of Jupiter's larger moons. His ship was one of 12 vessels hidden throughout the outer system, all waiting for the aliens to move deeper into the trap. Sir, the Council fleet is passing the Mars orbital zone, reported his sensor operator. They're heading straight for Earth. Murphy smiled grimly. Just like Admiral Blake predicted, send the ready signal to the fleet. Admiral Blake received confirmation signals from ships throughout the solar system. The aliens were walking into a carefully prepared ambush, but they would not spring it until the enemy was fully committed. On the Eternal Harmony, Admiral Zix Thera grew impatient with human defiance. She had given them a gentle demonstration by disabling their satellites, but they continued to issue threats and demands. It was time for a more serious lesson. Target their military base on the fourth planet, she ordered. Disable their defensive systems, but do not harm the inhabitants. We are civilized beings. The Council's mercy doctrine required them to use minimum necessary force when dealing with primitive species. Their weapons were designed to capture and control, not to kill and destroy. It was a philosophy that had served them well for millennia. Energy beams lanced out from the alien ships toward the Mars defense platform. The massive station's shields flared as they absorbed the incoming fire, but the alien weapons were specifically designed to overload defensive systems without causing permanent damage. Captain Morrison watched from the Liberty's edge as the Mars platform's shields failed and its weapons went offline. The aliens had just escalated the conflict, and now Earth would respond in kind. All ships, this is Admiral Blake, came the voice over the fleet communication network. Execute Operation Hornet's Nest. Repeat, execute Operation Hornet's Nest. Throughout the solar system, human ships began to move. They emerged from hiding places behind asteroids, from the shadows of planetary moons, and from positions that the alien sensors had dismissed as empty space. Captain Torres brought the New Hampshire around from behind a large asteroid, her weapons already locked onto the nearest Council ship. Fire, she ordered, nuclear-tipped. Torpedoes streaked across space toward the alien escort. Vessel Peaceful Dawn, the Council ship's shields were designed to stop the air energy weapons that most galactic species used. They were not prepared for the kinetic impact of physical projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. The first torpedo punched through the alien shields as if they were not there. The second and third torpedoes followed, slamming into the ship's hull and detonating inside its structure. The Peaceful Dawn disappeared in a brief, brilliant flash of nuclear fire. On the Eternal Harmony, alarms began sounding for the first time in the ship's 3,000-year service life. Admiral Zixathera stared in shock at her tactical display, which showed that one of her ships had simply vanished. Report, she demanded. The escort vessel Peaceful Dawn has been destroyed, her tactical officer replied, his voice shaking. We are detecting multiple human ships throughout the system. They were hiding from our sensors. Hive Prime Cathek studied the incoming data with growing alarm. Admiral, these humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered. They are using kinetic weapons, physical projectiles instead of energy beams. Admiral Zix Thera felt a chill run through her forearms. The Council's defensive technology was specifically designed to counter energy weapons and gravity manipulation. No civilized species had used crude kinetic weapons for over 30,000 years. Captain Murphy brought the Defender out from behind Jupiter's moon, targeting the Council ship that had attacked the Mars platform. Let's return the favor, he said, and launched a full spread of torpedoes. The Council ship Harmony's Grace tried to maneuver away from the incoming projectiles, but human weapons were designed to track and pursue their targets. The alien ship's point defense systems managed to intercept 2 of the 6 torpedoes, but the other 4 struck home. The alien vessel did not explode like the first one, but massive sections of its hull were torn away by the nuclear detonations. Atmosphere vented into space, and the ship began to drift helplessly. Admiral Zixathera watched 2 of her ships eliminated in less than 5 minutes by enemies she had dismissed as primitives. For the first time in her long career, she felt something she had never experienced before: doubt. Admiral, her communication officer reported, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet commander. Admiral Blake's image appeared on the main screen of the Eternal Harmony. He was an older human with gray hair and steel-colored eyes that seemed to look directly at Admiral Zixathera. Galactic Council Fleet, Blake said in a calm, steady voice. You have attacked human installations and threatened our homeworld. We have responded proportionally. You now have 2 choices: withdraw immediately from our system, or face the full military might of Earth's defense forces. Admiral Zixathera activated her reply channel. You dare threaten us? We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled this galaxy for 50,000 years. Blake's expression did not change. That may be true elsewhere, but this is our home. Here you follow our rules or you leave. The choice is yours. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Zixathera staring at a blank screen. Around her, the bridge crew waited for orders that she was not sure how to give. For the first time in Council history, they had encountered a species that not only refused to surrender, but was actually winning the fight. The emergency session aboard the Eternal Harmony brought together representatives from 12 different species, all members of the Galactic Council's diplomatic fleet. Admiral Zixathera looked around the conference room at faces that showed confusion, anger, and something she had never seen before in a council meeting. Fear. Ambassador Nethalisa of the Thurian Republic spoke first. Her people were known for their peaceful nature and diplomatic skills. Admiral, surely there has been some misunderstanding. No species would deliberately attack a council fleet. Perhaps these humans do not understand who we are. War Speaker Vorthag of the Kragan Horde disagreed. His scarred face showed the battle lust that had made his people valuable council enforcers. They understand perfectly. They destroyed 2 of our ships without warning. This requires immediate retaliation with maximum force. Admiral Zixathera studied the tactical reports spread across the table. The data made no sense according to everything the Council knew about primitive species. The humans are fighting in a coordinated pattern across their entire star system. They have hidden ships in locations our sensors could not detect. Their weapons use kinetic energy instead of the standard gravity or plasma systems. Dr. Veltar, the Council's chief xenobiologist, examined readings from the human ships. Admiral, I have been studying their communication patterns. These humans are not operating under a single command structure. I detect at least 6 different military organizations working together. That is impossible, said Mindsinger Yathola, the Council's telepathic specialist. No species can coordinate multiple military forces without central control. Chaos would result. On Earth, Colonel Danny Walsh coordinated ground-based planetary defenses from his command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. His screens showed the positions of every human ship in the solar system, all connected through quantum communication networks that the aliens could not intercept. Major Carter, status on the orbital platforms, he requested. Major Susan Carter checked her displays. Guardian Station is at full readiness, all weapon systems online. The aliens seem to be staying away from Earth orbit for now. They're learning, Walsh said grimly, but they haven't seen anything yet. High above Earth, Guardian Station bristled with weapons that human engineers had designed specifically for space warfare. Unlike the Council's mercy-focused technology, human weapons were built to destroy enemy ships as efficiently as possible. Dr. Carl Spencer worked frantically in his laboratory, analyzing fragments of alien technology recovered from the destroyed Council ships. What he found disturbed him more than he had expected. These weapons aren't designed for real warfare, he reported to Admiral Blake over a secure channel. They're built to disable and capture, not to kill. The aliens have been fighting wars where the goal is conquest, not destruction. Blake absorbed this information. You're saying they've never faced an enemy that fought back with intent to kill? Exactly. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming primitive species who surrender quickly. They have no experience with prolonged combat against a determined opponent. The Council's cultural integration specialist, Mindsinger Yathola, prepared to attempt direct mental contact with human leadership. Her species had evolved the ability to influence the thoughts and emotions of other beings, a talent that had proved invaluable in convincing primitive species to accept Council rule. She focused her telepathic abilities on the strongest human mind she could detect, which happened to belong to General Patricia Young, Earth's chief of military intelligence. Yathola expected to encounter the simple, chaotic thought patterns typical of primitive species. Instead, she slammed into mental barriers that felt like walls of solid steel. General Young's mind was disciplined, organized, and completely resistant to telepathic influence. Worse, Young seemed to be aware of the attempted intrusion. Someone is trying to get inside my head, Young reported to Admiral Blake. It feels like a weak electrical current, but I can sense the attempt. Yathola recoiled from the contact, her crystalline body shaking with shock. In 5,000 years of telepathic work, she had never encountered minds so strongly defended. Human thoughts were not just resistant to influence. They seemed to be actively fortified against mental intrusion. Admiral, she reported to Zixthera, I cannot establish telepathic contact with the human leaders. Their minds are armored somehow. It is as if they have trained specifically to resist mental influence. This revelation sent new waves of confusion through the council leadership. No primitive species had ever developed defenses against telepathic manipulation. It suggested that humans had encountered telepathic species before, or had developed the defenses for other reasons. Captain Morrison continued to patrol the outer system in the Liberty's Edge, coordinating with other human ships to maintain the defensive perimeter. His communication officer, Lieutenant Rodriguez, monitored alien transmissions and reported increasing signs of confusion among the Council fleet. "Sir, the aliens are arguing among themselves," she reported. "Their communication patterns suggest disagreement about how to proceed." Morrison was not surprised. Earth's military strategists had planned for this possibility. By refusing to follow expected patterns of behavior, humans were forcing the aliens to operate outside their standard procedures. Admiral Zixathera called another emergency meeting as reports continued to arrive that challenged everything the Council thought they knew about warfare. Her intelligence officer presented data that made her question whether these humans were truly a primitive species. "Admiral, the humans have constructed their entire solar system as a defensive network. Every asteroid mining station is actually a disguised weapons platform. Their civilian shipping routes are designed to support military logistics. This level of organization suggests they have been preparing for interstellar warfare for decades." Hive Prime Kathek clicked his mandibles nervously. "Admiral, my analysis suggests these humans evolved on a world where they fought extensive wars among their own species. Their military technology and tactics have been refined through actual combat experience." "What are you suggesting?" Admiral Zixthara asked. "I am suggesting that we have encountered something unprecedented. A species that reached the stars while still engaged in warfare among themselves. They have brought their combat expertise into space with them." The implications of this analysis sent shockwaves through the Council leadership. Every other species in the galaxy had achieved peaceful spaceflight before joining the Council. The idea of a species that developed interstellar travel while still fighting wars was almost unthinkable. War Speaker Vorthag studied the tactical data with professional interest. "These humans fight like my own people did before we joined the Council. They understand that the purpose of warfare is to destroy the enemy's ability to fight, not to capture territory or prisoners." Ambassador Nethalisa looked alarmed. "Surely you are not suggesting that we should treat these primitives as equals?" "I am suggesting," Vorthag replied grimly, "that we may not have a choice in the matter." Admiral Zixthera realized that she faced a decision no Council admiral had ever had to make. For 50,000 years, the Council had expanded through the galaxy by absorbing primitive species who were grateful for the protection and technology that membership provided. Now they had encountered a species that not only refused their offer, but possessed the military capability to enforce that refusal. The humans were demanding to be treated as equals, and they had demonstrated the power to make that demand stick. The question was whether the Galactic Council was prepared to accept the existence of an independent human civilization, or whether they would escalate the conflict to levels that neither side might survive. Admiral Zixathara made the decision that she believed would end the human resistance once and for all. She authorized the deployment of the Council's Pacification Force, a collection of advanced weapons designed to disable entire planetary populations without causing permanent harm. "Deploy the gravity disruptors and neural dampening fields," she ordered her weapons officer. "These humans need to understand the futility of resisting Council authority." The pacification weapons had never failed in 50,000 years of Council expansion. Gravity disruptors could disable any ship by creating artificial gravity wells that would crush the crew. Neural dampening fields could render entire populations unconscious without lasting damage. They were the ultimate expression of the Council's merciful approach to conquest. Captain Morrison watched from the bridge of Liberty's Edge as the alien ships began to glow with strange energy patterns. His science officer, Lieutenant Commander David Park, studied the readings with growing concern. "Captain, they're generating some kind of field effect. I've never seen anything like it," Park reported. "The energy patterns suggest gravity manipulation on a massive scale." Morrison opened a channel to Fleet Admiral Peter Jackson, who commanded Earth's main battle fleet from the heavy battleship Constitution. "Admiral, the aliens are powering up some new kind of weapon system." Jackson had been expecting this escalation. Earth's intelligence services had detected similar energy signatures during the Council's previous conquests of other worlds. "All ships implement Operation Hornet's Nest. Repeat. Execute Hornet's Nest immediately." Throughout the solar system, human ships began a coordinated attack pattern that military strategists had spent years developing. Instead of meeting the alien fleet in a direct confrontation, human forces would use their superior speed and maneuverability to strike at specific targets. Commander Angela Foster led a squadron of fighters from the carrier Intrepid, diving toward the Council's weapon platforms at maximum acceleration. Her pilots had trained for this moment their entire careers, practicing high-speed attack runs against targets that could destroy them with a single hit. "Stay tight, people," Foster radioed to her squadron. "These aliens think we're primitives. Let's show them what Earth pilots can do." The human fighters screamed through space at speeds that pushed their pilots to the edge of consciousness. Council defensive systems tried to track them, but the automated weapons could not match the unpredictable flight patterns that human pilots used. Foster's squadron reached the alien gravity disruptor just as it began to power up for a shot at Earth. Her fighters launched their entire payload of armor-piercing missiles at point-blank range, then scattered before the alien point defenses could respond. The gravity disruptor exploded in a cascade of exotic energy that sent shockwaves through the nearby Council ships. For the first time in the battle, human forces had destroyed a major alien weapon system. Admiral Zix Thara watched her primary pacification weapon die in a ball of fire, destroyed by tiny ships that should not have been able to penetrate her defenses. The human pilots had flown attack patterns that violated every principle of safe spaceflight, treating their own lives as expendable if it meant completing their mission. "How did they get through our defensive screens?" she demanded. Her tactical officer studied the attack recordings with disbelief. "Admiral, the human pilots flew directly through our plasma fields. Their ships should have been destroyed, but they somehow survived long enough to deliver their weapons." What the alien officer did not understand was that human military technology prioritized different capabilities than Council equipment. Where alien ships focused on comfort and automated systems, human vessels emphasized protection for their crews and the ability to function even when severely damaged. Captain Rachel Moore commanded the destroyer Vengeance from its position near the Jupiter system. Her ship had been waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and the destruction of the gravity disruptor provided the opening she needed. "All weapons, lock onto the nearest Council cruiser," she ordered. "Full torpedo spread, maximum yield." The Vengeance launched 12 nuclear torpedoes at the Council ship Benevolent Guide. The alien vessel tried to evade, but its massive size made quick maneuvering impossible. 8 of the human torpedoes found their target, ripping through the alien hull and detonating inside the ship's core systems. The Benevolent Guide broke apart in a series of secondary explosions, its debris spreading across thousands of kilometers of space. Another Council ship had been destroyed, and Admiral Zix Thara began to realize that her fleet was in serious danger. Hive Prime Kathek analyzed the human attack patterns with growing respect and alarm. "Admiral, these humans are not fighting to capture territory or force surrender. They are fighting to destroy our ability to threaten them." "Explain," Admiral Zix Thara demanded. "Every human attack has targeted our weapons systems and major vessels. They are not trying to board our ships or take prisoners. They want to eliminate us as a military threat." Kathek paused, then added, "This is total warfare, Admiral, something the Council has not faced for millennia." The concept of total warfare was almost alien to the Council's way of thinking. For 50,000 years, their conflicts had been limited affairs designed to demonstrate superiority and force submission. The idea of fighting to completely destroy an enemy's ability to fight was something from their ancient history. Captain Morrison coordinated the next phase of the human attack from Liberty's Edge. His ship might be small compared to the alien vessels, but it carried the most advanced communication systems in Earth's fleet, allowing him to direct the battle across the entire solar system. "Guardian Station, this is Morrison," he radioed to the orbital platform above Earth. "The aliens are pulling back their main fleet. Now would be a good time to demonstrate our defensive capabilities." Major Susan Carter smiled grimly as she received the message. Guardian Station had been built specifically to defend Earth from alien attack. and its weapons were designed to reach across interplanetary distances. "Target the alien command ship," she ordered her weapons crew. "Full power, maximum range shot." Guardian Station's main weapon was a particle beam accelerator that could punch through any known defensive system. The beam lanced across space toward the Eternal Harmony, striking the alien flagship's shields with the force of a small star. The Council ship's defensive systems held, but just barely. Warning alarms filled the bridge as power systems overloaded, and backup generators kicked in to maintain life. Support Admiral Zixthera felt her ship shake from the impact of weapons, fired from over 1 billion kilometers away. The humans had demonstrated that they could strike her fleet even from their home planet. "Making retreat more difficult, Admiral. We are receiving a transmission from the human fleet commander," her communication officer reported. Admiral Blake's image appeared on the main screen, but this time he was not alone. Behind him stood representatives of Earth's major governments and military organizations, a display of unity that the Council had never seen from a primitive species. "Galactic Council Fleet," Blake began. "You have now experienced Earth's defensive capabilities. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses, and our weapons can destroy your ships. We offer you one final opportunity to withdraw peacefully from our system." Admiral Zixthera activated her response channel. "You cannot defeat the entire Galactic Council, primitive human. We have fleets throughout the galaxy that dwarf this expeditionary force." Blake's expression remained calm. "Admiral, you came to our home uninvited. You attacked our installations. You threatened our people. We have responded proportionally to your aggression. Whether you bring 1 fleet or 1,000, the result will be the same. Earth will defend itself." The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Zixthera to confront a reality that no Council leader had faced in recorded history. Her fleet was not winning this battle. Worse, the humans seemed prepared to fight to the death rather than accept Council rule. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Galactic Council faced the possibility of military defeat at the hands of a species they had dismissed as primitives. The question now was whether Admiral Zixthera would accept this new reality or escalate the conflict to levels that might destroy both civilizations. Admiral Zixthera stared at the tactical display showing the remains of her once proud fleet. 4 ships destroyed, 3 more heavily damaged, and the humans showing no signs of slowing their attacks. For the first time in her long military career, she was considering retreat. "Admiral, we must withdraw to the edge of the system and call for reinforcements," urged her second-in-command. "The human weapons are unlike anything we have encountered." "Withdraw?" Admiral Zixthera's voice carried disbelief. "The Galactic Council does not retreat from primitives." But even as she spoke the words, she knew they were no longer true. These humans had proved they were not primitives. They were something the galaxy had never seen before, a spacefaring species that had mastered the art of warfare. Admiral Blake watched the alien fleet's movements from his command center and recognized the signs of an enemy preparing to retreat. He had seen it before in human conflicts, the moment when one side realizes it cannot win and begins looking for a way out. "Sir, the Council ships are pulling back toward the outer system," reported Major Carter from her tactical station. "Their energy signatures suggest they're preparing to jump to faster than light speed." Blake smiled grimly. The aliens thought they could retreat, regroup, and return with overwhelming force. They did not understand that humanity had prepared for this possibility as well. "Implement Operation Prometheus," Blake ordered. "Do not let them leave." Throughout the solar system, human ships that had been holding defensive positions suddenly went on the attack. The aliens had expected humans to let them retreat peacefully, as most species did when faced with the threat of Council reinforcements. Captain Roger Hayes commanded the battlecruiser Independence from its position near Saturn. His ship was one of the most powerful vessels in Earth's fleet, designed specifically to hunt down and destroy enemy capital ships. "All weapons, target the alien flagship," Hayes ordered. "We're going to send a message that the galaxy won't forget." The Independence accelerated toward the Eternal Harmony at maximum speed, its weapons charging for a decisive strike. The alien ship tried to maneuver away, but the human vessel was faster and more agile despite its smaller size. Hayes launched a full spread of torpedoes, followed immediately by particle beam strikes that overwhelmed the alien ship's defensive systems. The Eternal Harmony's shields collapsed under the sustained assault, and hull breaches appeared along its massive length. Admiral Zixithera felt her flagship shuddering under the human attack. Damage reports flooded in from every section of the ship, and she realized that her vessel might not survive another such assault. "Signal the fleet," she ordered reluctantly. "Full retreat to the edge of the system." But the humans were not finished with them. Captain Nicole Turner led the assault carrier Liberty Bell in pursuit of the fleeing council ships, her fighter squadrons harassing the alien vessels and preventing them from organizing an effective withdrawal. "Sir, the alien ships are trying to escape," reported her flight coordinator. "Should we let them go?" Turner considered the question. Earth's leaders had debated this scenario extensively. Allowing the aliens to retreat might bring peace, but it would also give them time to gather reinforcements. The decision had been made weeks ago. "Negative," Turner replied. "Continue the attack. These aliens need to understand that there are consequences for threatening Earth." The running battle continued for hours as human ships pursued the Council fleet across the solar system. Every time the aliens tried to form up for a coordinated jump to faster-than-light speed, human forces would strike at their formation and force them to scatter. Major General Barbara Wright coordinated the planetary defense network from her command center on Earth. Her screens showed the battle raging throughout the solar system, with human forces maintaining pressure on the retreating aliens. "General, we're receiving multiple distress signals from the alien fleet," her communication officer reported. "They're requesting permission to withdraw peacefully." Wright considered the request. The alien fleet was beaten, but they still possessed enough firepower to damage Earth if they chose to fight to the death. However, allowing them to leave might send the wrong message to other hostile species. "Patch me through to Admiral Blake," she ordered. Admiral Blake received Wright's call and listened to her analysis of the situation. The decision of whether to allow the aliens to retreat would determine how the galaxy viewed humanity for generations to come. "Put me through to Captain Morrison," Blake decided. "He's been in this fight from the beginning. He should deliver our final message." Captain Morrison received the call aboard Liberty's Edge and understood the weight of the moment. What he said next would be heard throughout the galaxy, broadcast on every communication frequency that alien species used. "Open a channel to all alien vessels," Morrison ordered Lieutenant Rodriguez. "Make sure this message reaches every ship in their fleet." Morrison stood on his bridge, looking out at the stars that humanity now claimed as their own territory. When the channel opened, he spoke with calm authority that carried across the void. "Galactic Council Fleet, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. You came to our home uninvited. You attacked our people unprovoked. You demanded our surrender without justification. We have responded by defending ourselves and our freedom." He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. "You may withdraw from our system, but understand this. Earth is a sovereign world, and humanity claims its right to exist free from external control. We seek peaceful relations with all species, but we will defend ourselves against any who mistake our offer of friendship for weakness." Morrison's voice grew stronger as he delivered humanity's message to the galaxy, to all civilizations receiving this transmission. "This is Earth's word to the galaxy. We are not primitives to be conquered or integrated. We are not subjects to be ruled by distant councils. We are human beings and we bow to no one." Admiral Zixithera listened to Morrison's words and felt something she had never experienced before. Respect for an enemy. These humans had not just defeated her fleet. They had done so while maintaining their principles and offering peace to those who would accept it. "Signal the human fleet," she ordered her communication officer. "Tell them we accept their terms and will withdraw immediately." The Eternal Harmony and the surviving council ships jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the solar system behind. But they carried with them something that would change the galaxy forever: the knowledge that they had encountered a species they could not conquer. Hours later, Admiral Zixithera stood before the full Galactic Council, broadcast from across thousands of star systems. The assembled representatives of 100 species waited to hear her report on the integration of the human primitives. "Honored council members," she began, her voice heavy with the weight of unprecedented failure. "I must report that the integration of the human species has failed. They have refused to join the council and have demonstrated the military capability to enforce that refusal." The council chamber erupted in shocked silence. No species had ever successfully resisted integration. The very concept was unthinkable. "Furthermore," Admiral Zixithera continued, The humans have declared their home system to be sovereign territory and have warned against future attempts at forced integration. They possess advanced military technology and the tactical expertise to use it effectively. An elderly council member from the archaic species spoke into the silence. "Are you suggesting, Admiral, that we have encountered a species we cannot control?" Admiral Zixthera met the gaze of the most powerful beings in the galaxy and delivered the words that would reshape galactic politics forever. "Honored Council, I'm reporting that we have encountered humanity, and humanity has made it clear that they will not be ruled by anyone but themselves. The galaxy now has a second major power, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not." The transmission ended, leaving the Council to grapple with a new reality. For 50,000 years, they had been the only significant civilization in the galaxy. Now they would have to learn to coexist with humans who had proven they could not be conquered. On Earth, Captain Morrison stood on the observation deck of Guardian Station, looking out at the stars that humanity had claimed as their own. The aliens were gone, but they would return eventually. When they did, they would find humanity ready and waiting. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun.